Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another workshop by Care to Prevent. Today, we're doing a workshop on what are vaccines and what is the an introduction of the world of the disease. So, what we're going to talk about today is some myths of surrounding vaccines and some important information and facts surrounding vaccines. Understanding that Care to Prevent respects the rights of all individuals. So, understand we're just putting information out here. It's nothing that we are personally taking against people. We're just putting the information out here and we respect the rights of all individuals. Okay, I outlined today some introduction of what about a vaccine, the history of vaccine, what are vaccines, what do vaccines do, why do we need them, who should get them, where can you get vaccinated, and some myths and some facts surrounding vaccines. Each person has their own views about vaccines. Some people allow themselves and their families to get vaccinated, and others decline for many reasons. So, for who knows the reasons to why people want to get their families not vaccinated. Over the past 20 years, there have been many controversies regarding vaccines. The world we live in today allows for families to decide, and because a great deal of people, great deal of misinformation that has been put out there, and now we're seeing more families choosing not to vaccinate, and this has increased the prevalence of diseases which has become very rare. History. The first successful vaccine was established in 1976 by Dr. Edward Jenner. Jenner, he created the first vaccine of smallpox. The vaccines were created because many infants and children were dying from horrible diseases such as the whooping cough, such as polio and things like that. So during this time, many children possibly didn't live beyond the age of 5. Even if they did, they had a significant sort of defects. These defects included that many children had to wear braces because of the disease polio. Many children having iron lungs, being paralyzed, things like that, etc. A bad cough, horrible whooping cough due to not being able being to be vaccinated due to the whooping cough. So, what are vaccines? Vaccines is basically a prevention medicine. You are getting vaccinated to prevent something. So it's not a medicine; it's a prevention method. So it's the individuals getting this. The individuals from getting a prevents individuals from getting a disease or reduce their severity of the disease. Vaccines do contain the piece of each disease, actual virus or bacteria itself, but those pieces has been killed off and it has been weakened to the point where the individuals don't get sick, but their immune systems are active to produce antibodies, and their bodies respond, protect them from getting disease itself. So again, the virus has been weakened to the point where the individual is not getting sick from the virus that's in the medicine. What vaccines? What do vaccines do? Each vaccine you take, it stimulates your immune system to produce antibodies as if you're actually in contact with the disease itself. Once the immune system creates the antibodies, you're better able to fight off disease if you're exposed to it. Just like your white blood cells. What do your white blood cells do? Your white blood cells, it fight off an infection. It's your little soldiers to protect your body from invaders. So basically, that's the same thing. What the vaccine does, it is protecting your body from invaders that's coming into your body. What is different about vaccine versus medication? Antibodies you take to get rid of. Anti means against. You removing something versus the vaccines is preventing. Antibodies, I'm removing something. Vaccines, I'm preventing myself from getting something. Why do you need vaccines? Getting vaccines can prevent such thing as Hep B. hepatitis A and B, the measles, mumps, and rubella. So back then, you remember before people was getting measles, mumps, and rubella. I'm sorry for my dog. The MMR shot, and people cheeks will swell up and they will look like chipmunks. So it's preventing things like this. The measles. The measles is a horrible outbreak. The whooping cough, the T dep. You walking around like that, just like this horrible, like that. So these diseases is preventing things that we would say it's everyday childhood diseases, but these everyday childhood diseases were causing people many problems, like human papillomavirus (HPV). So you know the human papillomavirus, um, you if you're transmitting it through sexual contact, it is considered a STI because you're transmitting it through sexual contact. The reason why you're getting this is to prevent the different types of cervical cancers, and it also you don't want your children to be spreading this virus, or even as an adult, you don't want to be spreading this virus to another adult. So preventing this, getting the vaccine for HPV, it's eliminate the different types of cancers. The rabies. Um, Nobody wants to have rabies. When you've been attacked by a stray dog or a stray animal, and you don't know if that animal has been vaccinated. You don't know if that animal has been vaccinated. So this is where the things like this, you want to have these vaccines. Um, are these diseases that bad? As we talked about, the whooping cough outbreak has been rare since the 1950s, but in the past 20 years, there have been more and more outbreaks, picking up about 50,000 cases in 2012. Check out this clip from the video that we have. As you can see, the guy in the video, the gentleman in the video, or I'm gonna say the person in the video, had whooping cough, and you can see he had the cough over his mouth, and he just coughing real bad, like I was showing, or like that. Measles is very contagious. Many people say, "Oh, measles is no problem. That was a childhood disease." True. Like chickenpox is a childhood disease, but the problem is with these diseases now, a lot of people immune systems are compromised where they cannot get these what we once called childhood diseases. Their immune system can fight off the infection from these diseases, and many times people are now dying from these childhood diseases. More diseases. Like I was saying, HPV is the most common STI, and it can lead to genital warts or cervical cancer. So when you get into HPV shot and you get the Gardasil, HPV vaccine is called Gardasil. When you get Gardasil is what prevents these things. So getting this can prevent you getting genital warts or cervical, passing on cervical cancer. There is no treatment for this right here. There's no treatment for genital warts. I'm sorry. There's no treatment for it. However, like I said, the Gardasil disease is a prevention method from getting HPV. Playing around with rusty nails better get you vaccinated for tetanus. Why would I get a tetanus shot? I just play with the nail because the tetanus produces a toxin that affects the brain and the nervous system. This can eventually lead to muscle spasms and death. So once the toxin has entered your nervous system, the nervous system is your key component of what makes your body work. If your nervous system is not working, nothing else can function. So the brain is your central processing unit, meaning if my central processing unit is not working, nothing else can function. So once the tetanus produces the toxin, it does, you just tense up as you see the baby in the picture. Where can I get vaccinated? where you live at. Depends on where you live at. Let's go to your local health department. Can provide a list of places where you can get vaccinated at. See the links and video descriptions. Your drugstores, including CVS, Walgreens, your healthcare provider. So if your healthcare provider is too much for you, try alternate places like CVS and Walgreens. There's a lot of medical mobile units that visit the neighborhoods. I live in Chicago. I work for the University of Chicago. We have a blue medical mobile unit for comers where the comers bus go out to schools to vaccinate school age children who should get vaccinated. Anyone whose healthcare provided recommends vaccination. Keep word. Your healthcare provider recommends vaccinations. This includes infants, healthcare providers, teachers, and children and adolescents, adults. Healthcare providers and teachers, the only how you are exempt from this if your healthcare provider um, states that you have a medical clearance, you still have a medical clearance from the healthcare provider. Other than that, these vaccines are required to work in the healthcare field or to be a teacher. Once again, if your healthcare provider give you a medical clearance, that's the only how you don't have to get them. How do I pay for it? Insurance will pay for vaccines, which is required for schools and most others. If you don't have insurance and you have to pay out of pocket, once again, we go to places like Walgreens and CVS. These can be a cheaper alternative than going to your healthcare provider. I'm not telling you not to go to your doctor. I'm saying if you cannot afford your vaccines, there are alternate places that can give you the vaccines for cheaper if you cannot afford them at your primary care doctor. If you have school age children, the mobile units that visit the school, once again, University of Chicago has a blue mobile unit for commerce that goes out to visit the schools to give vaccines. So if your child is in high school or in elementary school, or I think they still, I'm not for sure if they doing preschools or child care daycare centers, but check with your local school to see if they have a medical mobile unit provider. Free clinics. They're not free clinics, but they do a slider scale fee, meaning that they take your annual income and go based upon that about how much you can pay uh, for your visit. So we finna get into facts versus fiction. Let's talk through some of the myths surrounding the vaccine. So, myth: vaccines cause autism. Hmm. Let's see what the facts are. No evidence has been shown that are linked to our autism. Many autism researchers states that they believe that autism has been determined before birth. Once again, if your child has autism, it was probably determined before birth. So when they go get their 2 months or 4 months vaccines, that vaccine did not give your child autism. Myth: vaccine causes disease that's supposed to prevent. Hmm. Fact: how can a vaccine cause a disease that is supposed to prevent, which is how can a vaccine cause something which they are preventing? True, you might. Some people might feel like feverish or headache, or even they might get tired after getting the vaccine. This is an indication that your body is starting to build up immunity to the disease. So once you have these right here, reactions, right? You it's saying that my body is building up to the my body is starting to build up immunity to the disease. It doesn't mean you got the disease. It just means your immune system is building up to the disease. Myth: you don't have to vaccine your child so early in life. Hmm. Facts: children are getting more at risk for getting sick because their immune system does not develop yet. So when you have, we're noticing now that elementary school or even younger kids now are starting to get get meningitis, right? Why are they getting meningitis? Because they're not at their age where they're able to get the vaccine. So that means once they get exposed to it, their immune system has not became developed enough to fight off those infections because their immune system hasn't gotten the vaccines yet. Now, my child not getting the vaccine doesn't hurt nobody. It doesn't hurt anyone else. Let's see what the facts are. These children and adults who do not, who are medically unable to get vaccinated when your child don't get vaccinated, you're putting them at risk. Why am I putting at risk? Earlier we talked about compromised immune system. So if my child doesn't get the measles and I'm the person that you have sickle cell, you have seizures, you have asthma, or you have a child that's at home with leukemia and stuff like that. These people have a compromised immune system already, meaning that if somebody in your house get the whooping cough, get the measles, you are compromising these other people right here who's already sick. Myth: vaccine contain unsafe toxins. Facts: yes, it's true that the vaccine may contain formaldehyde and mercury and aluminum. But the reason why these additives are sure that the vaccine is sterile and safe. So they have to add these things, these formaldehyde and mercury and aluminum to sterilize the vaccines. That's the only reason why these are added to sterilize the vaccines. Vaccines today works better than ever. Since 1980, more protections, fewer antigens. Myth: the effectiveness of vaccine has never been proven. Facts: the last smallpox outbreak in the U.S. was in 1949. The last polio outbreak was in 1979. Vaccines were effective. You can check out the graphs that we have on the next page. So, as you see, measles cases in the United States from 1912 to 2001. So you see where it started at 1912, right? It said cases per 100,000. So this means this is what 300,000 cases. And you see how starting up in 1912, 300,000, then it raised up to 600,000, then it came down, then it went back up. So you see how as it started when the vaccines started, right? When people start getting the vaccines, you see how the number um start decreasing as when people get vaccines. You see how the numbers decreasing as the people was getting the vaccine. So by the time we got to 2001, you see where we at. 1990, you see where we at. The little zero right here. So this is for the measles. The polio cases in the United States for 1912. If you see right here from 1912 where it goes up right here, and then you see that it comes down, 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 and it went up. And then the last case, 1961 oral polio vaccine was 1960 when it came about. So you see how from 1960 all the way over to 1999, we have no polio cases. Don't procrastinate, vaccinate. So as again, we respect the rights here at Care to Prevent at the University of Chicago. We respect everybody's right. We respect everything about people views and opinions about vaccinations. We are not to try to persuade you, but more just get information. We more so informative, inform you about vaccinations and myths and facts. And here go a lot of resources that we got. So we just didn't make this stuff up. So we got the resources from the CDC, the YouTube with the guy with whooping cough. Again, the CDC, medical news, the immunize, health affairs, rush.com, vaccines, many places that have resources that you can look up yourself too.